Hello and welcome back to Exeter City, where I have played through those games and they've gone precisely as you would have expected. I'll get you caught up. 2 league games played, a 3-0 victory over Sutton where I fully rotated, of course. Good to see those players get goals. But we beat Burnley and we lost Spurs. It's kind of predictable at this stage. We're still 1,000 to 1 in the prediction list. We've made no new signings, but one outbound. He was on the list. I kind of forgot he was on the list, to be fair. And he's gone to Fenerbahce, of all places. Scott McKenna. Although he's played twice for them and got a 6.35. I'm feeling justified by this now. Bizarre for a player who did fantastically at Watford. Smashed most of the statistics charts for defenders. And then, for me, terrible. And also for Fenerbahce, terrible. But we had 6 settled defenders, so one could go. And McKenna was the one that could go. I do tell a lie. I did make one transfer, but he just won't be here until January. Another Colombian, getting quite a collection now. A promising 6 foot tall, pacey, relatively stamina work ratey, not horrific mentally, not horrific technically either. Obviously 17, a few more years, but misses actually being able to join the club by about 24 days. Will turn 18 in the next 10 days. But of course, can't join us till January. Finishing is the weaker spot, but we can always get that up, and with the pace he's got, rounds keeper is a very likely trait to be giving him eventually, but we'll see him in January. For now, that one victory against Burnley sees them in 19th and us in 15th, of course. Aston Villa are the kind of side I don't really know what's going to happen with. They are 9th in the predictions, so they're the kind of team that can go very much either way. Newcastle are predicted 5th now. 5th! We're not 1,000 to 1! I don't know how that's happened considering I've only sold a player, but I guess a couple of people have developed to a degree where we're no longer 1,000 to 1. We're just 900. But yes, it is Villa and Wolves today, as you can see, predicted 9th and 10th, the sort of next stage that we want to be reaching as this club. Right now, I'd be happy for that sort of 12th to 15th, never really in trouble group. Would be nice for me. Last year we had periods where I was kind of concerned, but ultimately we ended at the lower end of that. Safe with a game to go, safe with a few games to go, and then still only ended about 3 or 4 points above the drop due to the games we had remaining, not being kind ones. I did persist with Murillo. I did forget to take him out, but he hasn't been great, so Arsby's coming in. Otherwise, I don't really feel much need to change, because Johnson has actually usurped Benito Raubin up front as well, just because he's still being annoying. Martin Saunders, also a question mark at this early stage. In fact, Sanchez in goal, Martin, Luan, Perez, Arsby, Castillo, Sangari, Markovic and Perkins. Perkins for now. Mansley and Fernandez, Johnson up front. Of course, the thing with a fair amount of these players is it's going to take a little bit of a while for them to get up to speed. Obviously, notably players like Castillo, Hesham. That's about it for this team. I know Luan Perez, of course, is new and he's actually captain, which not probably great work from me there, but he is the best leader. I mean, at this point, I frankly should give Sonny Perkins the captain's armband. Aston Villa have started the same way we have, with 1 win from 3. I don't know who it was against, and I don't know who they lost to, so I probably should have checked that beforehand just to sort of get a little bit more context on their season so far. But they're in the same boat as us. They're playing a narrow formation, which I'm seeing more of actually recently. I don't know why. And yes, they're another team that provide a minor kit clash with our black and pink ensemble, because the maroon or claret or whatever you want to call it, I actually don't know which one Aston Villa fans like to be given. Markovic has gone through here. Bilo saves nicely. Don't know if they like to be called claret and blue or not, or if they're very particular about what shade of brown it is. And that's gone in from Sonny Perkins. Now, obviously, Burnley are steadfast in their claretness. But, ooh, not great from Bilo, I don't think. It just almost like he was trying to save something entirely different. But we'll take a goal. And Sonny Perkins obviously not a short player. That's going to get to Luan Perez. I was marginally concerned he was going to miss that, and I was very more concerned he was going to pass that straight to them. I don't know why some of our players have this like white bit on the back of their shorts and some don't. Just a weird thing with Kit Basher, I guess. I don't know what's happened there. But Markovic has got through again here after squandering an early chance. This is not going to be a shot from him, I don't think. Sangre will gather that, and oh, that was the highlight. Okay then. Angelo in their corner. McGinn still there. This is what, the 5th season? A little bit surprised he's still there. Conser, a little less surprised he's there. I do get Conser mixed up with Hauser sometimes, just in terms of in the game, in terms of what happens to them. Conser's the one that's rated a little bit better, I believe. Hauser, the one less so. Johnson, it's a good finish, and he's run up with arms up. I thought he was offside, which is why I was very muted in my reaction to that. But arms up, goal awarded. 20 minutes in, it's 2-0 at Villa Park. Is it the other defender that plays him on? Because I'm fairly certain he's ahead of the defender he's immediately challenging. It's Mansley to Perkins. Perkins with the assist, and it is the other defender, yes. The one that was marking Fernandes. So Fernandes actually doing fantastic work there, just sort of dragging that other defender a little bit further back. And we are good for this lead as well, in terms of the match story. Castillo, great ball from Sanchez actually there. Nice to have a goalkeeper who actually can give it to the player you wanted to give it to. And it's poor from us from there, though, unfortunately. And Angelo is now in behind our defence. He's kicked it all the way across to Bailey. Not the most aerial of threats, but I don't think. 1 or 2 strikers, though. Playing him as a striker. Interesting. The age of Danny Ings clearly over. The age of Ollie Watkins clearly over. No one on the bench is jumping out to me as a striker. Yeah, Pavon and Bergwijn, obviously, wingers who can function as a striker, but Villa are playing a narrow diamond with 2 strikers when they brought to this match Leon Bailey, known winger, Bergwijn, known winger, and Pavon, known winger. Curious choice. Who's in charge of Aston Villa at this point in time? Erik ten Hag. Does explain the Kudus acquisition then. He's on their bench. Okay, after our second goal, we've done nothing and Villa are doing things. So we do have a corner now. And regardless of whether or not this goes in, I'm praising Fernandes, Demarkovic, Sangre, who's been booked, Castillo, Fernandes. On a 6.3, I gave you a chance, Julian. I gave you a chance. You played fantastically in the cup game against Sutton. Clearly calibre of opposition there. A defining factor. Perkins gets the ball back in, and Gudjonsson's there again. Should have been 3. With Gudjonsson's height and aerial ability, that should have been 3. Andre Almeida. I mean, he's not quite Lorenzo Luca, and that could have gone anywhere. Well, Fernandes is on a 6.2, so he's coming off. Martin Saunders from a bench appearance is going to come on. Pavon, did the goalkeeper, but just couldn't keep the shot down enough. Right, 70 minutes gone. We need to think about whether or not we need to bring people on for their 15 minutes of fame or not. Now, the thing with right back, of course, is the fact that he is the one that needs the development. Aaron Martin's playing well, but he's got a player behind him that should get 15 minutes more often than not. Annoyingly, he's playing well. Same with Gudjondsson up front, who has Kuzu behind him, and Perkins for that matter. All the players that are playing well are the ones I'd want to bring subs on for. Although Perkins is a bit tired. Hesham on. It's the 2 goal scorers coming off. I'm going to regret this, aren't I? Castillo on that right-hand side. Just mugged. I think this highlight's just become because I've made 2 subs, but does this sometimes. The ball will go out of play, and there we go. I'm going to regret this. Saunders now has been booked after immediately coming on. Another late praise just to sort of hopefully shore this up a little bit. 4 minutes to go. I am just going to say, just calm it down a little bit. This would be a very, very good 3 points. Castillo hooks that. Doesn't quite fall to us. Matty Cash shows at the back post. Sanchez, comfortable save. Yeah, that's not the highlight. Whatever happens now. Now this winger's in a bit of space, although he's come in a bit. Winger, fullback. I know what I was trying to say. Instead, he just hoofs it to their defence because why wouldn't you? Still not perfect goalkeeper distribution, is it? Despite the very specific instructions some people have, and that's a good save. That's a fantastic miss. Should have hit the target with that. Slow the tempo down a smidge as well. Wow, Aston Villa really came back at us actually in that second half. 20 shots in total. Only 7 on target though. That's what happens when you don't put strikers in the striking positions. This Mohamed Ali Cho as well. You are a striker, just not with fantastic finishing. But frankly, I imagine, yeah, you're better than anyone we've got. Incredible work. 2-0 at a team predicted 9th. And our 6 points have come from away from home. I suppose, once again, there's no real difference between away from home and home games because they're all away from home. I believe we're still at the Den. Yes. Aaron Martin actually gets in team of the week as well. I guess Fernandes and De Bruyne had sensational games to prevent Sonny Perkins, who I swear had a better rating than Martin, but fine. The match is at United. Isn't he a City? Oh dear. Well, where's Wolfsburg? He's done very well. That can't have gone down well. I should just talk about finances as a whole, just because I didn't sign any players for reasonable money. We are still sat on nearly 14 million to spend. I just didn't spend it because there wasn't really anyone for a reasonable price that provided a significant improvement to the team in any particular position. Now, if anyone was available that massively improved the team, even if it was a midfielder, I would have done it, but not for that kind of price tag. Like the players that were going to significantly improve that midfielder, 20, 25 million. I know I could do future fees or whatever, but if I was going to spend that kind of money, I'd do it in a position that is more important now, like say central defence or the front line or the goalkeeper. But we did that for 9 million. So for now, we'll just be careful with that money, and we've got it in January if we need it. Although speaking of midfielders that would have significantly improved our midfield, I didn't mention, because I ran out of time, the most annoying transfer of this transfer window. And it goes to a player who became a free agent at the end of last year. The player is Arthur, of Juventus now, formerly of Barcelona. He became a free agent at the end of the year, so I prodded and poked, and when he became a free agent, offered him a trial. He declined that. Offered Thiago Alcantara a trial as well. He declined that. Arthur, after declining our trial, decided to join a team. And that team was Championship Brighton. Dear Sports Interactive, for the love of all that's mighty, sort the reputation system out. This is our second season in the Premier League, and we're losing players to Brighton in the Championship. And just to be clear, when it comes to Brighton as well, they were relegated in the second season, spent 2 years in the Championship, got promoted on the second one, of course, ahead of us, and then were relegated last year again. So they've only spent 1 year in the Premier League in the last 3 seasons. Like, I get it if he went to, say, one of the teams in the Premier League that's a little bit heavy, even Burnley, for God's sake, I'd understand it. But he's obviously good enough to be playing for mid-table Premier League teams as a starter. Barest minimum. He'd have been a starter for Wolves. Oh, we drew Newcastle, by the way, in the next round. Not bringing him it, because quite frankly, who cares about the Carabao? I will do when we're in a position to actually win it, but not for now. Speaking of midfielders that got away from me, Johan Mounier did indeed go to Rangers on loan. This is him. You can see why I was interested, and you can see his value, actually, as well. Understandably, he went to Manchester City. He's the kind of player that's probably going to develop and play for them, especially on loan at a team like Rangers, which is about his level. Just want to point out there, we're about his level as well. In fact, he'd be more of a star player for us than I think he would be for Rangers, but I imagine he's still playing for them. Seems to be. But yeah, the one that got away, expect to see him, I imagine, in the future. He was one of those players that everyone was interested in, but only Manchester City put a bid in for him, apart from us. Just the one change, we're going to bring Martin Saunders back into the team. Fernandes is 6.2, once again highlighting that he is terrible when playing against decent opposition. So that's the last time he burns me as a starting player. Not even going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one anymore. Martin Saunders, at least, even if he does put in a 6.6, he's putting in a 6.6 and not a 6.2. Wolves are in here already. This is 5 minutes in, and it's a decent enough shot. Sanchez spills it a little bit. Possibly a little unsighted. Good save. Whether that's a good save or a bad save, I don't know, actually, considering. But deal with the corner, and that's fine. Martin Saunders is there to collect them. This could be a good counter. I expect it just to disappear. I should say, we did have bids for players that did kind of upset them that they couldn't go. Mansley was one of those. He does have a release fee, which I forgot about, of 33 million or so. So I've set his price tag at 32 now. But I promised him he could go if he got a bid of 34 million, which was his initial counterpoint. The team that wanted him, though, I think it was Young Boys. And they did offer like 20 odd million. That's the weird thing about the transfer window we had, was the fact that we were getting relatively good bids in terms of just overall money, just not near their value, for our players, from teams that they really shouldn't be upset about not going to. I believe the other major one was Benito Rahman got a bid from OHL, and he was upset that I didn't accept that. But oh well, he'll get over himself. That just compounded his I want a new contract nonsense as well. Johnson's in the middle. It's a good chance, and it's our first real foray towards their goal as well. Something about Wolves, we just don't have a handle on them. We lost them 3 times last year, most of them convincingly. I was kind of hoping this would be the Wolves that didn't win in the last 3 months of last year. But no, it appears to be the Wolves that we played 3 times, and they couldn't have just walked us in any better. Full-on IT crowd memed that into the back of net. I just kind of want to watch their players' movements here, because how in God's name do they get that right there? So we try to cover off We just double stack on their number 8 for no reason. And then the right back goes for the person with the ball, naturally. But both our centre backs are deciding to mark one player. Oof, this could be carnage, Sangare. Oh, he missed the target. Should have top right cornered that. Decent from Arsby, actually, to get that back into the middle. I do want to check, actually, briefly, our corners. Yeah, didn't have Arsby on the near post. And he's 6'4". It's because Maria was playing there at the start of the season. He's only 6 foot flat. So that's why we had the two 6'2"ers on the near posts, Johnson and Perkins. It is rather terrible from us. We're just terrible at home. Got them relatively motivated for the second half. Neither Mansley or Saunders. Semedo coming inwards. Semedo's still going. That's an attempt. Castillo's 6.3 is enough for me to go, oh, hello. Sorry, we've scored. It is the 6 foot. I never know which one's going to be getting the corner. We aim at the near post, but whenever I want it to be... Where is Arsby? There, 5. Whenever I want it to be just the near post man, it goes to the man on the post. And whenever I want it to be the man on the post, it goes to just the near post man. Basically, whichever one I wanted to go to will go to the other one. So thankfully, they're both 6'2" or more. That's going to go to Pedro Neto. Let's put back into the box and great challenge. Oh, they should have scored that. Now, of course, the fabulous thing about Martin Saunders is he can play both sides. Mansley on a 6.2 and bad. Saunders himself on a 6.3, but I just don't have the men for both of them. I'm going to give Kuzu the minutes again on that right-hand side rather than up front. Probably not the best thing to be doing. And Perkins tired makes me want to bring Hesham on. Aaron Martin on a 7.7, also not particularly untired. Markovic, thank you for at least putting the ball out so they get 50 minutes minimum. But it is 1-1. We're going to get a relatively okay point at this stage, provided there's no further shenanigans. Martin Saunders on the other side now. Aaron Martin, that's not going to get to Hesham, but the font clears it. It's good head down from their striker. That is embarrassing from our defence, actually, and more embarrassing that Pedro Neto's in. Let's get to Manafort. Oh, good block. They've taken off a defender, oddly. Pedro Neto puts the ball in, although I suppose the AI doesn't have the same reluctance to do central defenders as human managers do. I'm just happy to let this sort of go out at 1-1. Not going to change anything else. They've had an XG of 3. Robert Sanchez justifying his price tag already. And not that his price tag was particularly high for his ability, but it's got to be said that one potential odd moment in the Man City game, that's a free kick. This is just an end of game highlight now. Now, potential one questionable save or non-save from him against Manchester City aside, he's been worth a 9.75. Had a 7+ rating in the last game as well, I believe. I know Aston Villa only had 7 shots on target in the end, but still 7 saves. And here, I think he's done even better. Sangre with a great challenge that unfortunately went back to them. But yeah, 11 saves. We're the ones normally getting that against us in situations, not necessarily with Exeter, but elsewhere in the Football Manager multiverse. That's the kind of performance we normally get against us. The good news is I can find Martin Saunders, though, and Mansley, get their work rates up. It's just dawned on me. It's a draw. It's the 5th game of the season, and we've had a draw. This is the kind of game that we didn't have last year, because we were so determined not to draw games. We either won them or lost them. Very rarely did we then go on to win them. Normally, it was just some kind of nonsense and we let them score and lost the games. This is the kind of result that is going to change this season from last, I hope. Those ones where we didn't get that one extra point that we possibly could have gotten. That Wolves game last year was one of those games where, yeah, they were on top of the game, but the goal they did score was a direct result of our nonsense. This is the result that we should have had in this fixture last year. Admittedly, that would have been a 0-0, not a 1-1, but it's still a draw. And Wolves up to 7th with that for now. We are 12th with that for now. A few teams still with 4 games played behind us. Brian Saunders now 1 away from getting a £5,000 wage. So this time around, we'll probably go a fair bit further. I might actually do this season in a little bit more depth because this is very much the transitionary season. This is the one to see how well we can do now that we've got players that are a little bit more competitive. This is the kind of season that I have no idea where it's going to go. We could finish 16th. We could finish 8th. I don't know. I do not think we're anywhere near Europe. Don't get me wrong. I think you need like at least a mid-table predicted side to then do Europe with the general low performance that you can kind of get out of a team in Football Manager. This isn't Germany or Spain or France or whatever, where you can sort of get in that mix with a surprisingly poor team. The Premier League is just that little bit more competitive. But beating Aston Villa away, And a draw with Wolves at home, I know they tailed off at the end of last season, but that's still a very good point for a team of our calibre. It's 7 points from the 3 games we played this season where I'd hope to get points out of. Now, as for when I bring you back, it's going to be sort of a couple of months. I do see Norwich and Brentford in the middle of November, so they're likely the kind of pairing that I'd want to bring you back for, the kind of teams that we need to be featuring at this stage of our journey. So I'll see you for those. Thank you for joining me. How optimistic are you feeling? Because that's made me feel that tiny bit more optimistic. And I'm fully expecting my hopes and dreams to be crushed by the time I see you again. Until then, thank you for watching. Ta-ra.